Hey you guys, hope you're doing well. It's JTBS, and today I wanted to go over a couple songs from the Kingdom of Shadows tape. I haven't done this type of video on my channel before, so I'm just asking that you guys bear with me as I break these songs down, and I promise I won't take more of your time than I need to. Let's do this! I feel the title theme is one of the most important pieces in a video game because it gives the player an idea of what to expect. Some great games that come to mind are Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Mario Kart Double Dash, just to name a few. Those songs combined with the imagery had a lasting impact on me because I remember them distinctly, and it's something I wanted to recreate on this tape. When I heard the original sample, it sounded very upbeat to me. And not that it's a bad thing, but it didn't reflect the cover art in my opinion, because when I was creating the songs for this tape, I used the cover art as a reference, my visual reference, I guess I should say. So I pitched the sample down, threw in some jazzy chords, and the rest is history. The challenging thing with this song was changing the sample from a 3/4 time signature, which is 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, into a 4/4 time signature, which is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Sorry music buffs, I probably said that wrong, but anyway, I had to figure out how to stretch the chords out without it sounding too noticeable. And it was in the key of C, which to me, if I was a character in the game, I'd want to wake up to a B minor or a G major chord, me personally. After I had the chords figured out, it still sounded dry to me, like it needed a melody, so I ran through my list of samples. And for some reason, the Roxas theme just stuck out to me. I thought about just recreating the whole sample, but when I incorporated it into the final song, the final version I had at the time, it sounded way too sad. So I just took the main melody out and stacked it out on top of the Mario sample, and it just worked out way better than I was expecting. I really wanted the music for the forest area to be like super chill. Like, think of the forest sample from Ocarina of Time. I feel like it tells a story without saying anything, and I wanted to replicate that feeling with my forest song. Not necessarily mysterious, but just the feeling that you're finally on the adventure. So this beat actually uses 3 different samples, from Kirby and Legend of Zelda to Final Fantasy. I started with the Kirby sample because I love that the sample had a bounce to it, and I wanted to have the drums reflect that. It was simple, but it had enough to make you bounce your head. After I had a loop going, I didn't know where to take it. I checked my list of samples, but nothing sounded like it was fitting with the curvy sounded until I listened to Final Fantasy 1. Original sample, to me it sounded very sad, so I changed the pitch to give it more of a hopeful energy, like, yeah, I'm lost in the forest, but I'm on the way towards my goal on my journey. The last sample, the Zelda one, was a really last minute addition. I already had the two samples together and it sounded perfect to me, but after listening to it a couple times, I wanted something else to break up that repetition since it repeats itself one more time. That's when I remembered that the mysterious part of the forest sample from Ocarina of Time, I just thought of it, I was like, okay, this is forest, it should be mysterious. And I wanted to incorporate that into the beat. And what better sample can you think of than the Forest of Mystery from A Link to the Past? When the game over screen comes on after I lose for like the 100th time, I always feel like the music they play is calling me trash. Like it sounds like and sometimes it makes me not want to go back and play. So I wanted to do something uplifting for the game over song on this tape. I knew that I didn't want to have a heavy amount of drums on this song, but I wanted to have some kind of percussion going on. And I found this awesome patch on Omnisphere called Grandpa Time or something like that, and it was a loop of a clock. At that point, I thought it'd be dope to have some smooth chords to contrast with the clock loop. Like when you hear a clock, you're thinking of like urgency, like I gotta go. So I thought having the smooth chords along with the fast loop would create a nice contrast. Once the full song was done, I totally forgot to include a sample, which is the whole point of the tape. And once again, Kingdom Hearts was the one I found on the list. The original song was very dark and somber, and originally I didn't think the melody would mesh with the loops I created. But surprisingly enough, like everything else that went on with the production of this tape, the melody just fit perfectly. This was another song that was originally in the 3/4 time signature, and I had to convert it to the 4/4 time signature. Probably makes more sense to just work the beat around a 3/4 time signature, but I'm not too comfortable with making those type of beats yet. Maybe one day. Final song of the tape. This one was a bit, let me use the word cathartic, because at the time of making this, I had just made the official announcement and I was basically in post-production. The original version of this was very mellow and somber, but when I listened to it after the previous song, it didn't flow well to me. It needed to be uplifting, which you generally need after beating the final boss of any game, right? I remember searching for Super Nintendo samples because those tend to be the easiest to manipulate and play around with, and for some reason these Wario Land songs just popped up. initially when I heard this, I was like, what the freak is this? You know? There's no way I can make something good, let alone decent, out of these songs. But tell me why, not even an hour later, I was humming both of these songs, and I just went back and sampled them because they sounded really good together. It's 2 different samples, and they just sounded like they belonged together. And that was a real challenge of making this song. Something that I'm really proud about with this song is I did my most extensive bass work on here. Usually when I'm working on bass for songs, I'll do the bare minimum because when I have an idea, I just want to get it done as soon as possible. But this felt like it needed to be done more to give it some life, you know, to make it feel like there's actually somebody playing it. But this was all programming, if you didn't know. Honestly, I couldn't think of a better way to end this tape than with this song. Well, this is it, you guys. Had to deal with working on this for a ton of hours and Premiere Pro crashing on me, but we finally made it. I didn't think editing would be easy, but man, my respect for editors in this industry and any industry has increased by like 3,000%. Anyways, if you liked the video, let me know, and if you haven't done so yet, go listen to Kingdom Hearts. I mean, what the freak? Why did I say freaking Kingdom Hearts? Please listen to Kingdom of Shadows, and I'll see you guys soon. Love y'all, and just have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Don't step on the grass, you might fall on broken.